Welcome to the live studios at the Kigali Global Dialogue, and we are joined today by two remarkable women. Let me introduce them. In fact, let me give you a very brief introduction of these two remarkable women. I would suggest you Google them, go to LinkedIn, go to the Wikipedia pages, and get to know about them. To the extreme left is Grace Hightower, founder and CEO of Coffee of Grace. She's an American mother, philanthropist, producer. She strives to empower women and their communities to achieve meaningful and sustainable lives through their work. Grace's dedication to empowering women worldwide led her to launch Coffee of Grace. Coffee of Grace is a premium coffee company that strives to have positive impact with the communities that it partners with at source. And she, let me confirm to many of you who don't know this, is an adopted daughter of Rwanda. Ever since I came here a few months ago, everyone has been talking about Grace and why Grace needs to be at this dialogue. To my left is Daria Illy, Coffee Culture Director at Illy Cafe and a member of Illy Cafe and Ernesto Illy Foundation Board of Directors. She joined the company in 2009 with the role of scientific lecturer at the University of Coffee. She has worked in the wellness field as a consultant, professor, and speaker for 13 years. It is publishing a book on marketing and entrepreneurship. Delighted to have you both join us this morning, Grace, Illy.
Thank you.
I'm going to stick to the theme of this panel first, unleashing half the sky, women leadership in this century. I think that's a goal that all of us must sign on to. It's an ideal that we must aspire to. But when it comes down to achieving that, women leadership in the 21st century, unleashing their potential, what are the nuts and bolts that we now need to start working at? What does it take to produce the number of women leaders who need to be changing, shaping, and creating prosperity for all? Illy, can I come to you, Daria? Sorry.
I think I had a magnet when I was a little girl on my fridge, and it said, "To teach is to touch a life forever." You know, I look after coffee culture. The biggest changes that I've seen happen when someone learns something new and they apply it. So I think that the sharing, but the real sharing, I mean, being in the field with the people, being in professional locations with the people, it's circular. It's a positive circle. When you're ready to learn, you're ready to teach, you teach, and people automatically get included in what's happening. And I think part of the change is absolutely culture.
Let me tease you on that a little more. Today, teaching and learning is through personal contact, going to the field, going to the farms, going to various institutions and communities. There is also technology. Are we seeing technology as an enabler and a catalyst for creating this ecosystem of women learning, women empowerment, skilling them, giving them dreams, giving them aspirations? And are you using that in your own work?
Yes, so much. It's a great question. Thank you. We have platforms that we use to diffuse the message globally in multiple places at one time. So absolutely, this helps very much. First of all, it helps us to broaden what we're saying. The University of Coffee has 27 seats in 27 parts of the world. And what we do when we can't refresh the trainings is we work on the web platform. So in this case, we all have the same level of expertise. And when we need to grow, we grow at the same time. This gives consistency of what we're spreading, the message that we're giving. And also you can reach so many more people at the same time. So huge help from technology.
Yesterday you were mentioning that 70% of the workforce in the coffee business happens to be women. And you were also, in some sense, alluding to the fact that they are not necessarily at wage parity.
Exactly.
Does education change that equation?
It does, but they need to get the access to it. This is one of the points. Access to education happens through positive and fortunate interaction in these cases. So we need to reach out to them more and more and help them to grow.
And when you say we, who's the we here? Just the foundations, governments, businesses?
I think it should be all of this.
And are you seeing a mood in all of these stakeholders to engage?
I am.
That?
I am, because this is in the interest. I mean, the higher productivity, a better productivity.
There's an economic argument for this as well.
Yeah.
Grace, let me come to you. You've been, working to, in some ways, empower women with sustainable livelihoods, higher incomes, bigger dreams. How do you do that? What is the Grace formula for giving women aspirations and higher wages?
Well, first of all, I'll roll back a little bit and say that I don't empower women. I try and help them to reveal that power that's already there. And what I've been doing in order to do that is that one of my goals were when I heard President Kagame speak, who inspired me so much with his speaking about the people of Rwanda they wanted to be entrepreneurs. They didn't want a handout, though they appreciated it. They wanted to be able to create themselves. And that was what led me to become interested in Rwanda. I happened to kind of fall into the business of coffee. And in my search along the ways of how I could be influential in doing and helping to make some type of contribution to the people here in Rwanda, the economics. So I found out that coffee was one of the big high producing resources. And what I have learned and what I have seen is that women possess this incredible power already. It's innately there. They just have to, and I will take this unleashing the skies. You have to unleash that power. And I can speak personally, growing up, I knew that power was there. I didn't know what it was at the time, but I knew that there was something inside of me that was bigger than anything I could ever imagine. But unfortunately, we women sometimes have been
Hesitant.
given roles. We've been given roles, and we fall into that, I want to say, a trap of this is what I should be doing, and that's it. So what I had to do was step out of my comfort zone and
shed the given identity.
yes, and also to take on roles that I did not know about, the unknown roles. Those are the ones that lead to creativity. Those are the ones that will lead to change, and those are the ones that women are so incredibly adaptable to, because we have been doing so many different roles at the same time. We've been, I don't want to say playing, I want to say doing. There's a big difference. And so that has enabled me to work here in Rwanda, my second home, and to be able to see how the women here are just, and all around the world, I should say. It's not just Rwanda, I'm speaking because I'm here, but women around the world have opened up that power, I believe, and are still opening it, and are still connecting to it. And I really feel that the timing is right now, that women are going to be, are very, not going to be, but are very essential in making and creating the changes that are necessary for the movement of moving forward, or the campaign of moving forward for all.
I think you raise a very important point, the campaign. And that campaign must include men.
Yes.
And in this work, in this entire effort that both of you are engaged with, are you beginning to see a larger number of men commit their passion and resources and time towards the same goal?
I do see that, and I'm very happy to see that. We do live in a predominantly male-oriented world when it comes to the workplace. However, I do see quite a few men that are stopping and they're listening to what women have to say. They're listening to their ideas. Their ideas are in alignment with what is going on naturally in the world. We cannot remain with the old ideas, so many of the old ideas that were predominantly male. And I feel that men are becoming more wise, and they are actually seeking women and their ideas. For example, I produced in New York with a friend of mine. I know that right now, most of the companies, the networks, the Netflix, the Amazons, the studios that are left, they are looking for female-driven projects, and products. They are looking for female stories that are inspiring, and because they are learning or have learned that these stories are real and they have an incredible impact on our young people, on our children. And that is going to be the tailgating of, if we can get our young children, our young people to be able to follow this model, then we have a great opportunity of really making so many changes. And I think women have actually stepped into that role and started the progress, and men have also stepped into that role alongside the women and are seeking the help from many
A
women.
very dear friend of mine narrated a very interesting tidbit to me the other day, and she said that, you know, the doorknobs, the car brake pedals, the cell phone length, they're all designed from a male gaze, for a male body, for a male use. You know, how much pressure to turn the knob. That's why women struggle with opening doors. What should be the strength of the hinge that decides the ease of movement of, you know,
But
it's,
we open them, don't we?
it's amazing.
We struggle, but we get them open.
I think now you're smashing them open. But she told me that this is a whole new market space available. If you were to start thinking about it even as a business idea, if you were designing products and services for women, you have half a market still available for produce. So let me ask you a question. Tasters, when you produce coffee, when you actually produce coffee, who tastes the coffee? Is it women tasters or is it male tasters? How do you do the tasting and the, so is it coffee for the woman? Are we thinking of something as?
That's a very interesting.
No, that's a market space,
that's
right?
very interesting.
You were mentioning about a cup, and perhaps you can share that with the viewers here, about half the cup that you were mentioning, a very interesting story.
Yeah, that's a good one. Anyway, we taste both men and women. I love the question on coffee for women, and I'm actually thinking about this.
You thinking about that?
Yeah. Not only, I think it's in general for the product, for most products, because it could be a smash.
And will I get some royalty for the idea?
You might. Okay. You'll get a quote.
Okay.
I'll just say one thing. Women, I found, including myself, who I did not know at the time, has an incredible palate for cupping coffee. And one particular, I remember 6 years ago when I first came to Rwanda, there was a young lady, I believe she was 18 at the time, a single mom, and she had been given the opportunity to cup coffee, and she had become the #1 in Rwanda cupping coffee. Yes, and she was involved with the cupping of the the International Cup of Excellence.
Is it the same person you were mentioning?
No.
That's someone different. Okay.
No. I was mentioning a person that cultivates here in Rwanda.
Okay. Yeah. And do you want to share the story about half the cup?
Yeah. Since, as we were saying yesterday, more than half of the people involved in the world of coffee is made by women, and only 25% are managing farms. What we wanted to explain to our consumers, the 1st of October is International Coffee Day. And every year we celebrate, illycaffès celebrates with a hashtag Thank You for the Coffee project. And every year this changes. So the title of last year's International Coffee Organization for Coffee Day was Women in Coffee. So what we did to bridge the gap between consumers' education and information on what happens and the coffee growers and who's really the principal actor in the world of coffee, we broke a cup in two. We didn't break it, of course. We designed it. So it's not this half of the cup, it's a section. And in all our direct bars, from San Francisco to New York to Tokyo, Trieste, Barcelona, in all our shops on that day, on October 1st, we were serving half of the cup to everyone. And I would have loved to show you the video, because the people look at half a cup and say, why am I getting half espresso today? What's going on?
Where's the other half?
Where's the other half? So the point is that this gave us a chance to explain what we've been just saying. More than 50% of women are involved in this industry, and not anyone knows it. And so when they understand the message, of course, they'll get the other half of the espresso. But the concept is...
You don't get it until you understand.
You really
this.
understand, yeah.
So this is all very good. These are the good stories. Let me ask you a slightly more political question, and I know both of you are going to refrain from engaging with me on politics, and that's my bread and butter. So, so I have to go there, and you have to prevent me from going there. But the world is becoming more alpha generally. You're seeing the rise of strongman politics, nationalists, those who are insular and exclusive, those who are tough and have made being an alpha male a virtue. At this time, we actually, and to meet, alongside this reality of politics, we also are beginning to awaken at some level to unleashing the potential of half of the human population, achieving the sustainable development goals, removing misery. How do these two mix in a cup of coffee? You have these strong men and you have this need of change. And both of you are in many ways actors who are covering the largest transition that needs to take place, that is of towards women leadership. How do those mix over a cup of coffee? Strong men and women leadership. Is there a contradiction? Is there a new dimension that we are not engaging with?
Well, I think Grace was mentioning the fact that I see more collaboration now, all over. I mean, the bigger perspective is I see more collaboration and much respect. Now, it depends on how alpha we are, usually,
True, yeah.
to the reaction of having very alpha people. I think the only thing that we can do is keep on insisting. We also have some positive leadership examples, and I mean, in Brussels, what happened, the European Commission. So I think there's a balance happening. What I'd like to say, and I don't have the answer, so I'm stealing your job in this moment, is we're thinking about there might be a moment when some private companies will have to say something. So most of the times we don't.
Correct.
In America, it's happening more and more that
Yes.
people are saying
Yes.
what they think. And
Yeah.
this is a part of their project and their plans. This takes a lot of courage. It takes exactly what you said, not being given a role, but take the role. You give other people roles, we take ours. And I think this is something that we need to think about for the future, because it's true that sometimes you manage to stay out and quiet, although you have your principles, and sometimes you need to think about contributing more.
Grace.
First of all, I think politics and the private sector and the changes that we want to see happen. First of all, you have to put politics over here, and because they have a certain role that they play, as you know, you're the expert. That role that they are playing doesn't necessarily mean that they are going to focus directly on what we feel that we need right away. They will in turn focus on that area when it's necessary, when it's really necessary from a political standpoint. And I understand that. I think that in order to achieve more collaboration from the governments, and especially I'm speaking of America, we are going to have to do just what we're doing. More corporations are going to have to get involved. More corporations are going to have to start taking a stance at, you know what, I don't agree with this particular behavior, and I'm going to call it out, and I'm going to take a stance, and I'm going to say I'm not going to allow this. I'm not going to condone this. I think the people also have to take on another role. I mean, in America, I feel that we're quite involved as a people, but you know, the last 4 years, we were caught sleeping.
Correct.
Let's face it, we were caught sleeping. We were not alert, and we were not aware. I think the awareness has been raised. I think the alertness has been raised, and I think that we are going to have to step out and push the envelope a bit more. none of the changes in America would have happened had not someone pushed the envelope. Martin Luther King pushed the envelope. Rosa Parks pushed the envelope. Gloria Steinem. There's so many that you can think of. Over the years, they've pushed the envelope, and I think that's the only way. As I said earlier, you can't stay in your comfort zone, and anything is going to happen. Get anything done. You have to step out, and it takes courage. And I think that that's what's going to happen with the coming together of government and people, and making those changes that are so essential in our lifetime. Is that pushing the envelope is going to eventually bring the two together.
So as politics plays its own scheme of things out, you have to keep persisting in your mission, and you have to step out of the comfort zone and push the envelope. While you do this, and both of you have done this over the years, can you share with our viewers one transformational story that is dear to your heart? One each. And then I'm going to ask you a tough question in the end. But one transformational story that you would like to share with the viewers.
I talked about what happened in Azumobi with the Association of Women in Costa Rica when they got everything was burned, and that was a tough one, but I think it's a success story. We have a very nice success in Rwanda. Maybe I'll share later. But this is it's a real success, because I saw how things can be changed when people reach out, and this is men and women, to help through educating. So how much culture really helps to educate and people to rise again. So these women, they were abandoned by men because they went down to the city. They were left in the plantations. They had no idea how to produce coffee, how to fertilize. They really had no culture, no education, but they tried. And then they started moving. So when we talk about inclusion and trying to reach out, they asked for help. And then we were lucky enough that they reached out for us. And one of our agronomists went down to see the plantations. And slowly, he taught them how to do the best practices and how to cultivate. Then they came to the company. They learned about tasting and roasting. They understood that they could not roast.
So village completely starting from scratch again.
From scratch.
Women finding their own way forward.
Exactly.
Women empowering and educating themselves.
Exactly.
And creating a successful ecosystem of economics and social harmony.
Exactly. And this is a story that was so much loved by everyone. It's called, I forgot the name of the video. Well, Alanis Morissette wanted to write a story and she sang a song for this particular video and the village. And of course, when the song came out, we did a half split, and we donated half of the province.
Oh, excellent! And the name of the village, so that the viewers can look it up. Costa Rica.
Costa Rica, yes, but the name is a small section of the world.
A small section of the world.
Section of the world.
Great. So look that up on the online, and if you need to buy it to help the women and the foundation, buy it. Grace, your story.
Well, my story has to be about Rwanda, dear and very close to my heart. I came here 6 years ago, and I met with the people of Rwanda, and I know you hear this story all the time. You go to Africa and you come back changed. But I really did feel a synergy here that I have never felt before. The people here was just, for me, they were real, they were authentic, they are transparent. And so when I started the Coffee of Grace company 6 years ago, I was sourcing from Rwanda, from small farms, still am, and I have seen and tasted the transformation. I've seen the product improve so much. The quality is amazing. People in the West are talking about Rwandan coffee now, which they weren't before. I myself didn't even know that Rwanda had coffee before I came here. But I've seen that transformation. I've seen it here as well. I've seen more and more women get involved in the co-ops, in production. More and more women are, and it's interesting, what happened was when women did start to become more active in the business, it's transferred down into many different areas. The women, you know, when we get together, we talk. And so when we talk, we learn things and we solve problems, and we sometimes create problems. But a lot of the problems that everyone has all over the world are, you know, family problems, family dynamics, sometimes maybe violence in the home. And some of these subjects have come up, and it's been very helpful that women get together and they have resolved, or they have created ideas on how to deal with, you know, different dynamics. And so for me, that transformation has been enormous. And back in the West, what's been really enormous is that the specialty coffees that these small farmers produce has become the millennials' go-to.
This involves a large number of women
Yes.
producing
Yes.
this excellent coffee.
Yes, yes.
So the tough question to each of you: your favorite cup of coffee? I'm going to give you 3 seconds.
So, last year, at the Premio International Ernesto Illy, which is called EICA, Ernesto Illy International Coffee Award, a beautiful woman from Rwanda, Filoti, won the best coffee in the world prize, both by professional judges and by consumers. So it was fantastic.
And did you try it?
I did, and it's going to be in all our cafes, especially because it's Rwanda's year. So all this year we're serving this. So no, all coffees can be wonderful, but this is the year of Rwanda, and it's very important. And it's a women who won the contest. And next year, when it's International Coffee Day, we're not going to serve the half a cup, but it's going to be a surprise. But the protagonist will be Rwanda.
Oh, excellent. Your favorite cup of coffee?
Well, of course, it's Rwanda. I mean, what can I say? And of course, it's, I would say it's the medium dark of Coffee of Grace. That's my absolute favorite, though the espresso is my second runner-up, but the Simba is really my favorite.
So we wouldn't have been too surprised with those responses, but we look forward to the year of Rwanda at Illy, and of course the medium brown, medium dark Grace of coffee. My request to both of you: it's time both of you come to India. It's time we put India on the coffee map. And it's time that in 2021, we celebrate the International Coffee Day with the Indian cup of coffee.
Thank
so
you.
I'm welcoming you both to India, and I'll be sending you invitations for January 2020. Try and see if you can make it. We would love to have a conversation with you there. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.